Hello, all you kids at Temple Rodef Shalom. It's Rabbi Saxe. I'm so glad to be there in your living room, and I'm excited to read you a story for Hanukkah. I am super especially excited about this story because it's about a horse, but this horse's name is Golda, and I have a dog named Golda, so that's one reason I love this book. I'm going to show you my dog. This is my dog named Golda, but in this book, Golda is a horse, so you're going to find out. Okay, so I'm going to show you a picture of the cover of this book. And there it is. It's called A Horse for Hanukkah by Myriam Halberstam. And I'm going to show you the pictures of this book as we go. So let me see if I can get this going. There we are. So the story begins. "Good morning, Hannah," whispered Mama. Hannah slowly opened her eyes. "Tonight, we light the first Hanukkah candle. And then we get a present, right?" cried Hannah excitedly as she leapt out of bed. "Of course. But don't be disappointed if your wish doesn't come true," Mama winked. Hannah had been wanting a horse for as long as she could remember. And in the days leading to Hanukkah, she had pleaded repeatedly with her parents. "Where would we keep a horse in our apartment?" Mama would respond. But Hannah could not give up on her wish. Finally, the time had come. Darkness had arrived. The shamus candle was lit, and with it, the first candle of the Festival of Lights. The whole family gathered around. Hannah especially loved singing Ma'oz Tzur. If only her little brother David didn't always whine so out of tune. Finally, time to unwrap presents. Papa opened the door to the next room, and Hannah just about fell over. Standing there, waving its tail, was a horse, a real live horse. "Shalom," the horse hummed in a velvety tone. Hannah couldn't believe her ears. A horse that speaks, and Hebrew no less. She was simply overwhelmed with joy. There's Hannah with the horse, and there's the other part of the picture with Hannah with the horse and her brother. "Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Papa," cried Hannah as she danced around the horse with delight. "I will call you Golda." David was spellbound and held out his hand for Golda to sniff. Golda gently licked it. "Your tongue is rough," David giggled. The horse is saying Lila Tov, which means good night. After a long evening of excitement over the horse and lots of singing of Hanukkah songs, the children went to bed happy and satisfied. Being Hannah's horse, Golda slept in Hannah's room. Hannah had trouble finding her bed. "That's okay," said Hannah as she squeezed past Golda's belly and tumbled into bed. She thought she heard a soft Lila Tov. See that? Lila Tov, good night. But she was not sure. Utterly exhausted, she fell asleep. On the second night of Hanukkah, it was bath time. Golda was curious. She dipped her nose into the tub, and in one big slurp, she drank up all the water. Hannah and David laughed with delight. They didn't much like taking baths anyway, but Mama was not at all pleased. "This is not water for you to drink," she advised Golda sternly. On the third night of Hanukkah, Golda sniffed at the candles. Suddenly, she sneezed with one big achoo! She blew out all 3 candles and the shamash. Now that was going too far. "The Hanukkah candles are not to be played with," complained Papa. "They have to burn out by themselves. You're not allowed to blow them out." Mama added, "You can't relight them either." "Yes, we know." Hannah looked quite sad, and so did Golda. Hannah thought she heard Golda say, "Eze bruch," what a mess. There they are, reading, and there's the blowing out of the candles. On the fourth night of Hanukkah, Grandma and Grandpa joined in the celebration. Grandma brought lots of delicious homemade latkes. Nobody makes them like Grandma does. Grandpa and Grandma stopped in their tracks when they saw a horse. Golda brayed, Naim Melod! Nice to meet you in Hebrew. Were Grandma and Grandpa hearing things? Everybody sat down for the latke dinner. Golda stood to the side and watched as Mama served sour cream, applesauce, and some lox with the latkes. Golda ran her tongue over her lips. Taim, tasty. Suddenly, there was a huge slurp. With her tongue, Golda had scooped up all the latkes off the plate and into her mouth. The bowl with sour cream tumbled to the floor. Grandma cried, Oy vey, all my latkes. Taim, delicious, Golda seemed to say. You beast, Grandma scolded. Mama tried to wipe the floor. David whined, I didn't even get one latke. Papa was speechless. Only Golda was happy, munching away at the latkes, enjoying every moment. Grandma and Grandpa went home upset. Mama and Papa ordered pizza. There they are going to bed or getting ready to go to bed. Hannah tried to explain to Golda that you just didn't behave this way and that you should ask before you take the last piece of cake, or in this case, the last latke. Golda winked at Hannah lovingly. Hannah heard, Slicha, sorry. It's so hard to stay angry at a talking horse. On the fifth night of Hanukkah, the family was invited to visit with friends. This time, they left Golda alone. Joyfully, the guests danced Israeli folk dances together. It was late. This is them dancing folk dances. It was late when Hannah, David, and their parents headed home. Golda had been waiting patiently in Hannah's room. As Hannah dropped into bed, exhausted by all the dancing, she saw that Golda had left her a little present. A huge pile of stinking dung plopped right next to Hannah's pillow. Ew. But Hannah was too tired to do anything about it. She fell asleep despite the stench under her nose. On the sixth night of Hanukkah, the Rosenbaum family wanted to play dreidel. Papa handed out chocolate money and peanuts for betting. David, Hannah, and Papa sat in a circle on the floor and spun the dreidel. Golda watched intently. She wanted to play too. Golda tried to spin the dreidel with her hoof, but hoofs are not made for spinning dreidels. Frustrated, Golda stamped and crushed the wooden dreidel into many tiny pieces. Now that's the last straw, cried Papa, and the game was over. On the seventh night of Hanukkah, Golda behaved quite well. She stood at the table and politely watched the family eat. What a good horse, Mama and Papa praised her. Hannah stroked her mane. Suddenly, Golda began to neigh. Ebal! Mother. Her tail had accidentally gotten too close to the menorah. Hannah screamed. Papa tried to pat out the fire. David dashed into the kitchen, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and sprayed sticky foam everywhere. There's all the foam. The flames were doused. Little David had managed to keep the fire from spreading. What a hero! Golda shivered in fear. The living room had turned into a cotton candy landscape. Mama put her face in her hands and began to cry. Good morning, Hannah, whispered Mama. Wake up, dear. Tonight we light the first Hanukkah candle. Hannah rubbed her eyes. The first? I thought it was the 8th. We've already lit 7 candles. Hannah's mom laughed. You must have been dreaming. Tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, so of course we light the first candle. And we open presents? Asked Hannah. Why, of course, answered Mama, giving her a kiss. I won't be at all disappointed if I don't get a real horse this year, Hannah said quickly. Really? Now that's something new. What happened? Mama asked wonderingly. Oh, I just grew up overnight, Hannah answered, smiling to herself. I'm much, much more reasonable now. So that's the story. And it has a great lesson for us, doesn't it? A lesson that we all love to get Hanukkah presents, but we got to be careful what we wish for. Wishing everybody a very, very happy Hanukkah. And I hope to see you all very soon at Temple Road of Shalom or even over Zoom. See you later. Chag Sameach.